All right, so take two. I did this whole thing earlier and didn't realize my webcam was at the bottom and covered almost all my notifications. So thank you for someone for pointing that out. But let's try this again. Okay, so this notify function, as I mentioned before, it was I had it included. I use it actually in a lot of my scripts just to let me know stuff. It's very cool. It's simple. Well, it's actually quite complex. I use it very simply. It's got a lot of complexity in it. I don't leverage the vast majority of it, but I wanted to cover a few things. And I also want to put a word of caution is Maestriath. I showed this to him and asked him if he could simplify a couple things in it. And he looked at it and said he thought he was going to just rewrite the whole thing and build classes have classes to use it and to make it a little easier. So with that note, let's go ahead and show this. And then maybe another week or so, I'll redo another tutorial with his version. So, first off, let's see, this would be my title. So I'm going to run the script here. Oh, looks like I need a return here. There we go. So see my title, thankfully in the look. Yes, I can see it down here on the screen. After 30 seconds, by default, it has a 30-second timeout. It would go out. Let's add some text. That's a title. Let's add... you can put in line breaks. So save this, reload, launch, and there you go. So notice how it's putting in the line breaks for me down here. There's some simple ones that if you, first let's customize that duration. All right, so I'm gonna add a comma. Let's make it stay for 3 seconds and then disappear. So I'm gonna save this, reload it, and run it. Now watch after 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And it disappears, right? The other cool thing about this notification tool is you can do multiple instances. So I'm going to run this. It's running, but I'm going to hit my hotkey like 3 or 4 times. And you'll notice when I do that, it pops them up in the window. And then after each one, they time out and disappear. But there is a nicer way. So some of these options, which the function itself didn't like walk through and explain much at all how to use the options. So I'm going to do a couple of the main ones here. So let's change the title, the size of the title. So TS equals, it doesn't matter on the caps, I think. So let's say 15. I'm rerun this. Now see how much taller my title text is. And let's change the font to be TF equals Arial and rerun it. And now you can see the font when I get rid of this. Actually, let me hit this, grab that with my little screen clipping tool. Let's do Courier. I think that's how you spell it. I don't know if Courier knew. I may not be spelling that properly. Let's do book antique. So, all right, how about Arial narrow? That's an easy one to tell. There we go. So you can see that font and the title is changing. So let's get rid of that. We'll leave the size. But let's say I want to change the background of the GUI instead of the yellow. GUI color, and I'm going to set that to 0x. Let's do 0, 0. That's funny. Studio is usually picking up the colors. FF 0, 0. So, all right, that's going to be a green. Rerun this, launch, and now we have nice green. I don't know if I can call it nice, like a lime green color. The other thing about Studio is when it recognizes that you have a color in there, it will show you the color for you. It'll display it there in the little notes or whatever you want to call that. So let's change the font color. So title color equals 0x. Let's do like a red, which I think is FF 0, 0, 0, 0. Is that right? Yeah. So save, reload, run. Now I got a red title, green color. Say, hey, it's Christmas time. I don't know. We can mess with the transparency. So GT equals, I think that's a percentage. So, oh yeah, well, that's not enough. Let's do 40. Still not enough. 60. Yeah, that's getting better. But let's work on the the flow in, the speed in. So SI equals, now this is going to, let's do 1000. And this is where, to me, suddenly it looks, let me get rid of this other thing here. Suddenly it looks really cool, right? Because they start flowing in. Oh, that transparency is killing me. Let's just lose that entirely. So reload. And notice if I hit it a couple times, it stacks them, right? Which I think is really cool. Then they disappear. This time out, now when I run this and I click it, notice it just disappears, right? But if I add a SC, sorry, that's the speed clear, equals, let's do 1500, save, reload, run. When I click it, watch what happens. So it slides over and out. I think that's something that's really cool. It would, if I was a user using a tool that someone had built and I had that notification, I would think a lot of time went into this. And yet, I mean, maybe the person did write a lot of time, but honestly, it's so easy to use, right? That's why I like functions. You can borrow them and not necessarily even know what you're doing. And it's very easy to make it look like you have a clue what you're doing. Let's say we can change the message, the MS, message font size. So MS equals, let's say, 14. So now our subtext is bigger, which is handy to be able to change both of those. You could actually make your title smaller than your other one, right? It doesn't really matter. Let's change the MC equals, and let's do 0x00ff00. Oh, that's not going to work, is it? Let's do 0000ff. There we go, so like a blue. So as you can see, it's very flexible. Now let's add in an image. The image, and I demonstrated this the other day. Let me pull up the script that had it, the script icon. So if you run this, this shell DLL, whatever number we pick here, like let's say 114, it looks like that CD or DVD. So if we come back into here, image equals 114 and run it, that throws in, oh, it is a DVD. I can even see it here now, right? So that is, the number is corresponding to what you have here. So if we did one, let's do something a little, what's it? That's it, interesting looking X, 132, 32, save, reload, run. So you get the idea. You can also put in, I think it's any, maybe, I don't know if it's any sort of bit, you can put in bitmaps, I believe I tested that, and icons and whatnot. So it's very flexible. It's pretty cool if you're working with a given program that you can put in the icon of the program. I think that's really cool because it makes people feel like, oh, I know what that is too, right? They instantly associate it, which is, it's very neat. Now, everything I did here, I want to demonstrate on the fly just because to show how easy it is. But let's go ahead and get rid of this stuff. And I have some other ones down here that I've already got written out. You know what? And I think there was one. Yeah, let's get rid of this one for now. Let's go back up here. Now let's do these first three. I think this was just given a demonstration of how different things can look, right? So, okie dokie. That was quite a bit of stuff. These next ones. I think this next one was showing, oh, you know what I didn't mention earlier was on colors, and I'm not sure what else, and that's the problem is it's not consistent. But if you do a GC underscore, it will change that instance. It's like a temporary setting. But if you just did GC, it's a changing of the template of the default value for it. So and also you can use there are some words like, you know, yellow and red. Let's try that. So that's yellow. It looks like I have some other stuff still running here. All right, so there's the yellow. Let's see if I can do red. Oh, didn't like red. GC is GUI color. Yeah, interesting. I don't think case matters. So I'm not sure what I didn't write these. I'm not sure why it had yellow there. Maybe you can't do colors there. I don't know. Let's not worry about that one. Changing color. that there. Now that one, that did take that yellow. All right, it did take there. I don't know. I was doing something wrong the last time. Let's not worry about it. But this is also using different styles, which I think in a little bit below here. Let me comment these out. Let's also check to make sure I have. Let me. There we go. I just need that return back in there. I had a fall through error. So this one, this image. So let's see what that is. That's going to do. It's going to pop up. Has a star. Click it, it goes away. This is just showing. Notice these are all blank, yet it's still shoving data into there. So it's just showing an alternate way that you can fill the stuff out. Why? I don't know. This was in the demo version I found. Here are a bunch of styles. Now the styles, they don't all seem to work like I think they're supposed to. But you can see some have different icons with them, and they're slightly different. But yeah, it just has some defaults built into it. I personally wouldn't really use the styles. I would just give it my own. Let's get these back on, and then we'll turn on these two. Now what's cool with this one is this very last one that comes up. So this is its pause, it's waiting. When I click this, it goes and kills everything. Like that script goes out and kills all the other ones in this, which I think that's pretty cool that it has that functionality. And you do that with this -1 here. It kills all the open notifies. So that's pretty cool. This is similar. Oh, this one, if I remember right. No, that's the same thing, I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and save it and run it anyway. Actually, I can see it. I don't know how I got that in there. This next one is the one I was thinking of. Whoa, hey. What I like about it is, I'm going to save this and rerun it. Now notice my little green H here, that's for this script, right? When I run this, it pops up when this comes up. Now watch when I click this, what happens to my green H, right? That actually kills the script that it's running in. I'm not sure if you can point to a different program. I think you can, but I think that's pretty cool that you could have it, click it, and have it exit out of the script if that's what you want. So it's reacting to what you click. And this very last one here, I think it's another cool one, is it's a very nice looking like status bar. So and it relies on this update progress here. So I'm going to run it so you can. Oh, it's not running. Launch it, run. Oh, I forgot to get rid of the top ones. But notice here my install. I think it's a nice looking thing. It has a little icon, which of course I can change. When it finishes, it changes and updates. So it's counting down for us. It changes it to finished. What happens is we store this GUI in NID3. So that's the GUI, that's that notification GUI. We store it in this variable, and then later we call this update progress, and we jump down to it into a set timer. And so that's where we're passing it here. And we say keep updating this thing as long as A isn't less than 1. If A is less than 1, then come in here and turn off the progress update thing and say finished, and then update that one to say finished. So that's how it does that. Honestly, I wish personally I would try to write this thing all to have it. I guess you could put this in the actual notify function, and that way it's handy, because I wouldn't remember how to do this, and I would hate to have to do it all from scratch every time. But I think you get the idea. It's a pretty cool function. It has a lot more functionality in it, and let's get to the function here real quick. So this is the function. You put it in your library, and that's where this is. I'll give you the link to that. This one, the author Guarble, he used to have it hosted on his site, I think, and then now that's defunct. So every link I found for it on the forum under the author was broken, but other people had linked to it. This guy had thrown it into his GitHub, so you can grab it there as well. I went through, I kind of flattened it. It had a lot of, putting this paren on the next line and if statements and functions, which I like, or an else. I like having them all in one line if I can. It just saves some space. So I went through and cleaned it up somewhat. Here are crap load of ternary statements, setting some defaults and values. And then down here is where he even says, like, the way that he does these notifies, you can have up to 25 notifications going at one time. And so there's that notify, there's that version, and then these. But he needed, the way he wrote the script, he needed labels. And this, to me, is just kind of quirky. So when I was talking to Maestri, he was saying, yeah, with a class would take care of a lot of this. You wouldn't have a limit first off at 25. It would also, if you notice, if you had a bunch of them going, it's jumping between things, and it's a little quirky in the speed and smoothness. I would never have more than 2 or 3. I did use a script before. It was funny because it's one of the few times I used I don't use single instance force. I would use it when I was launching other scripts, and when the individual ones would be done, I would have it pop up and notify me that it was done. It was really handy. I loved it for that reason, but I could have multiple of them, and that's one of the things I loved about this notify function. That, and it just looks fancy, right? And people think it looks really cool, and yet it's just a function you have built in your scripts. All right, hope that helps. Sorry about the first version with my webcam down below. It's funny. I'm like Mark Myers, right? I never like to watch my own stuff. I just record it and throw it up there. So thank you for notifying. Cheers.